Good Thursday. It's opening day. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. For me.
Why not?
Chicago, baby.
Ooh.
You know, my heart and soul. Cubs. I'm one of the few guys. There's a rule. Many people don't believe in this. Like if you asked Eli Savoy, he would say I'm out of my mind. But there's a rule that was instated, I don't know, probably in the 20s. That if you live south of Interstate 80. You know Interstate 80, north, it goes east and west?
Right.
Okay. If you live south of Interstate 80, you can actually be for both Chicago teams. Because in Chicago, you cannot be for the Cubs and the White Sox. It's a little like in New York, you can't be for the Yankees and the Mets. The Cubs actually are picked to win their division. Now, this was interesting. The Dodgers are the overwhelming favorite to start this year to win the World Series. It's actually the biggest favorite since 2002, the New York Yankees. So 23 years. They're plus 275 to win the World Series. The Braves, second, so another National League team at plus 800, then the Yankees at 850. So that's the first American League team, even though they have 3 starters out. I don't see how they could be that high. I would not put my money on the Yankees. The Mets and Phillies, 2 more National League teams. Apparently the National League is the better league. 2 more National League teams are next, and their odds are 10-1. The bets on the Dodgers, this is interesting too. Westgate Superbook in Las Vegas says the Dodgers have attracted 4 times the amount of bets than any other major league team.
It's a safe bet.
People believe in the Dodgers. That's what they're saying. That lineup's incredible. Their rotation's incredible. The Chicago White Sox, again, the worst team. The over and under on the Chicago White Sox. Any guess, Elijah Seegers?
How many games did they win last year? Do you know?
I do know. Last year they won 41 games. They were the worst team ever.
I would imagine it has to be at least 50, right?
It is. You're good at this. 53 and a half.
Okay.
It's still the worst over-under in 35 years.
Oh, my.
But it's 12 and a half more than they won last year. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. You looking forward to baseball? You got a team?
Oh, yeah. Well, unfortunately, my team is not much better than the Chicago White Sox. This is going to sound very random, Dave. You don't know this about me. I'm a Colorado Rockies fan.
Wow. Why a Colorado Rockies fan?
So, about 12 years or so ago, whenever I decided to pledge my allegiance to teams, I used to play shortstop. I played shortstop growing up through middle school, high school. That was my position. So the premier shortstop at the time I started watching baseball was Troy Tulowitzki.
Yeah.
Big 6'3" shortstop, 5-tool player. I was like, I want to be this guy. He played for the Rockies, so
you
I
became
just said,
a Rockies fan.
He plays for this team. I'm just going to make them my team, and it's been misery almost ever since.
You know, there is a great Memphis connection that I don't think a lot of people are now still aware of between the Colorado Rockies and the city.
What's that?
It is Steve Earhart. Steve Earhart is one of the principals, if not the main principal, that brought Colorado, an expansion team, to the Rocky Mountain State. And that was years and years ago, and he was originally, I don't know if he was the president of the Rockies or not. Then there was sort of a shift, and he got kind of knocked out of the box for a good payment, which he has never said to anybody because I believe the settlement had to remain confidential. And so he's never told anyway. probably told somebody. He's never told me what that was, but that is a nice thing. Sweet 16 today. It's opening day for the Sweet 16. I didn't realize this. John Calipari just was listening to a partial interview that he did with Pat McAfee, and McAfee pointed out that Calipari in Sweet 16s, his record, UMass, Memphis, Kentucky, 16-3.
Wow.
That is pretty impressive.
That's
he was
incredible.
his usual funny self. I really hope that when he retires, he doesn't need money. He's worth he's worth, what would that be, $100 million? Whatever figures that is. He's worth it. But I hope he goes into broadcasting, because I think he would become the premier analyst of all. But he was funny. He was saying he is at peace. It was time for him to go. He spent 15 years at Kentucky. People think here's just a vagabond. He spent a bunch of time at UMass. He got an offer he couldn't refuse from New Jersey, which immediately, when they paid him off, he was already worth like $80 million right there. And then he spent 9 years here. 9 years is a long time. And then the dream job opened up at Kentucky. 15 years at Kentucky. And he's done a heck of a job. I really thought when they started off 0-5 that there was something wrong. If you look at the pieces, it took him a long time to get guys to play together, but now they are playing together. I don't know that they'll beat Texas Tech. I suspect not. Texas Tech is a 5.5-point favorite in San Francisco. They're the late game. Florida is 6.5 over Maryland. I don't see Florida losing. Of course, I picked Florida to win the national title. And then in the other region tonight in the Sweet 16, you have Duke 9.5 over Arizona. They may be getting back a key player who's been out since the ACC tournament. And BYU at Alabama. That line's 5.5. I for some reason, I think that's too much. I think Alabama's going to win, but I think 5.5 may be a little heavy.
I don't know. The way those teams score points, I could very well see this game being a blowout either way.
Really?
Just because of the 3-point discrepancy.
I just think both teams are going to score in the 90s. The over-under was 175, and was it Mike DeCourcy who said that's too low, go over? And I tend to agree with him on that. So we got the Sweet 16 tonight. It was interesting. I saw a piece on Danny Hurley who reiterated that he was sorry for the statements that he made walking out of the NCAA tournament and telling Baylor he hopes they don't get effed like he did against Florida. He, of course, qualifies all these things, right? That's the way he operates. He qualified it by saying, but the tunnel is supposed to be out of bounds for the media, right? But he does concede that he's not going to change any of the ways that he coaches. And I don't blame him. He's won 2 national titles. He's been successful since the second or third year at UConn. He changed that program because when they were in the same conference as Memphis, they were not very good. So I don't blame him for that. But he does at least admit he's got to get better off of the court in his antics, in his statements. We'll see if he can. I don't believe that he can. Tomorrow, Andy Schiffman's going to have the day off. I'm going to try to get somebody from the Showboats on. The Showboats open up at 11 o'clock at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium against Michigan. They have a new coach because Ken Wisenhunt had to step away for personal reasons. But here's the thing that I'm not sure of, and I initially called Steve Macy. He was involved in a function at the time and couldn't answer, and I'll try to either get him on or somebody. But there's a possibility we might see a players' strike.
Why is that?
Players think that they should be getting more of something, whether that is money, whether that is benefits, a better insurance policy, better housing because they're all housed in the same place, better travel. I have no idea. Better per diem money. I don't know. I don't know what their gripe is. And I'll be honest with you, the first time I read it came, I think it was from Jonah Dillon of the Commercial Appeal, who had written the story that the games are supposed to start in the UFL on TV, because let's be honest, it's basically a television program. They don't care. I mean, think they'd like to have people in the stands. I think Memphis had the worst attendance last year. But this is all about providing spring programming for the networks. And so I don't know what the total gripe would be, because they established a salary structure which is pretty equal all across the board. But we'll find out. We'll try to find out tomorrow. And in that 10:25 slot, we will have somebody to talk about all of that. In the meantime, I'm sitting in the Family Leisure studio, and a reminder to you, today is the 27th, which means at the end of this month, the event, that first ever postseason pool, spa, and patio event, may be going away. I want you to cash in now. You've got this weekend for sure. Pools under $2,000, spas under $3,000. The cold plunge and the swim spas priced so low they're ready to move. They won't even let me tell you what the prices are. And patio furniture sets. Remember, this is the 24s, state of the art. They got to be moved to bring in the 25s. They're under $800, and you could win a free pool, spa, or patio set if you stop by and sign up. It's that simple. Get to I-40 and Wooden Road. Go see our friends. Tell them we sent you to Family Leisure. We travel, I guess we're going to Oklahoma City. The television voice of the Memphis Grizzlies, Pete Pranica, is standing by. Good morning, Pete. How are you doing today? This is a big game, and OKC, the first team to have won 60 games this year. Is it fair to say, when it comes to pleasant surprises, that the Oak City Thunder are the best surprise of the year?
Yeah, either that or Cleveland. I mean, and Detroit, obviously. I mean, what J.B. Bickerstaff has done in Detroit's been amazing. What's amazing is that this team gets almost all of their points from players 26 or younger. Ooh. So this is not a veteran team. This is a very young team. By average age, they're the third youngest team in the league. They lead the league in all the hustle categories, deflections, drawn charges, loose ball recoveries, and they play amazing defense. I mean, last year, Minnesota led the league in defensive efficiency. Oklahoma City is 7 points per 100 possessions better than Minnesota last year.
I didn't realize that. That is incredible.
They're absolutely off the charts, particularly on the defensive end, and you've got a MVP candidate in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's the only player in the league that has had multiple 50-point games this season. So, they're totally loaded, totally stacked. It's a big challenge for the Grizzlies tonight for sure.
And this one's not a must-win because nobody thinks they're going to win this game. They're the heavy underdogs. But now you are feeling the pressure. If the playoffs started today, it would be the Grizzlies at the Los Angeles Lakers. You could still get to third. Is that possible with the schedule? You got Oak City, you got Boston, you got the Lakers all coming here, and I think I'm missing somebody else. Golden State, which is also in the mix. I mean, this is an incredibly important stretch. But if we're being realistic, and you are the most realistic guy of all the broadcasters I listen to, where will they end up?
I think probably 5 or 6. I mean, honestly, just given the challenge of the schedule, Oklahoma City, they're not sitting anybody. They've clinched the top seed in the West. They're not sitting anybody. They're still thinking about 70 wins, which that would mean a 17-game winning streak to end the season. That's lofty for sure. But the games against and Warriors are going to be absolutely critical. Gives you a chance of a tiebreaker, and then you have to go to Denver on the second night of a back-to-back. The NBA did not do the Grizzlies any favors with that scheduling. It's one of the toughest schedules remaining, but there's a lot to play for. Because if you were to beat, I mean, at least the Lakers, if you go 2-2, then it's going to go down to conference record, which I think the Lakers have the better conference record, but the Grizzlies have a better conference record than Golden State. So if they beat Golden State, they'd have a tiebreaker over Golden State. It's tough. It's tough, and we don't know when John Morant is coming back or what his status is. And obviously, that's a big question mark that hangs over the team when you look at the difficulty of the schedule going forward.
Yeah, did the injury report for the next game comes out like last night, right? 6 o'clock or something. What is he officially listed as?
Out.
And that's hamstring, not soreness anymore. Strain.
It's listed as a strain, yeah.
Man, that is tough. He just tweeted something out that I could not make heads or tails of. It was something like, "These hard days are what make me," something along that line. It doesn't say whether he's coming back, what he's feeling like. That's all it said. So it's anybody's guess. Tell me about Triple J. I know he got elbowed in the head. He had to leave the game in the win against Utah. Did return to the bench in the fourth quarter. This was in the third quarter when he got hurt. Did not play. I did not see his status for tonight.
He's fully available. He's not on the injured list at all.
Ooh, thank goodness.
He was on the plane yesterday. He was joking with people, and his pretty face is still just as pretty as it was before.
We saw in that win just how valuable, with Ja out in particular, Scottie Pippen Jr. truly is. How much better has he gotten since we first saw him at the end of last year? And obviously now, his importance has grown exponentially because of the injury to Ja.
Well, I mean, he's improved particularly with his decision making. There were times when earlier in his tenure he would drive, jump up in the air, and then make a decision where to go with the basketball, and it didn't always turn out well. I think he's been better at picking his spots with defensive intensity. He's not gotten himself in foul difficulty, which he had earlier. So his decision-making is better. I think his court awareness, game situation awareness is better. And the one thing that he said in the walk-off interview with Rob Fisher, I'm allowed to play through my mistakes. And so I think the coaching staff maybe has given him a little bit of a longer leash. And when the coaching staff gives you a longer leash, they have more confidence in you. They let you play through your mistakes. You're not as worried about making mistakes. And maybe Scotty was, a little tight and like, I don't want to make a mistake here. They're going to pull me. And as really the only true point guard that we have available at the moment, his quality play is crucial. And I always take a tip from Brevin Knight. When Brevin Knight says, "Hey, this kid is a really good point guard," I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that to the bank because Brevin should know as well as anybody.
It sure seems to me that way, that he is. And going forward, in an ideal world, he'd be the perfect guy to back up Ja. Because we look at history, Ja never plays more than 5 games in a row. He's only played, I think, at the most 65 games in one season. You got to have a reliable guy. He seems to be, I would think, the guy for the future.
Yeah, could be the heir, to the Tyus Jones mantle
exactly.
as the crucial backup. And he's proven himself. That he was a big time scorer. Obviously, at Vanderbilt, led the SEC in scoring in his junior year, but. Jerry Stackhouse sat him down and said, at the next level, you got to make other people better. And I think Scotty's done a very good job of that. Got a 12-game streak of at least a steal in a game, and was just brilliant, really, against. I know it's Utah, and Utah was sitting some of their players, but still, it's a double-double, and 10 assists without a turnover. Very, very solid night for Scottie Pippen.
No doubt. Brandon Clark, we know, is out for the rest of the year. That's very unfortunate. I feel for him because Achilles now and he's such an important piece. And he just gotten back to the form that he was prior to the Achilles injury. But he's out. Now, how much more pressure does that put on the rookie, Zach Edey?
Puts a little bit more pressure on him. I think that you're also going to need and we'll see about Lamar Stevens. Now, he's questionable coming back from shoulder bursitis. I think everybody's going to have to pitch in. Zach Edey was brilliant in the second half against Utah, and he's going to have to be really, really good again tonight because, you've got a couple of quality bigs, Hartenstein and the Grizzlies haven't seen Chet Holmgren yet this year. So, I mean, Zach Edey's going to have to be big, literally and figuratively, for this team down the stretch. But I think some other guys, Jay Huff has been very productive in the last couple of games. He's going to need to be continually productive, and Lamar Stevens making some hustle plays, and I don't know that any of those guys really fills what Brandon Clark does because Brandon has been so valuable switching on defense and end of game situations. So we'll have to see how it all plays out.
Vince Williams said in an interview that he's about 80% of what he was because of injury. Is this for the rest of the year? How important is he now? Because last year he was maybe your best defender on the perimeter. Now Wells may be, but Williams goes a long way if he's healthy.
Yeah, he does go a long way if he's healthy. I think the other thing, too, is that, his shot selection, I mean, there's some early threes. I'd just rather Vince, be a dogged defender and take shots within the flow of the offense. That's going to certainly extend his court time. 80% of Vince Williams, at this point of the season, I don't know that anybody's 100%. I think everybody's probably 80, 85, 90% because, we're 70-plus games into the season.
Well, there's something about, I don't know if it's FedEx Forum or Memphis, because between the Grizzlies and the Tigers, so many darn injuries, really over the last couple of years, it's crazy. G.G. Jackson sent to the hustle. How long is this for? What do you make of that?
Really haven't had any update on that. Gigi came back, had a couple of good games, had a couple of really subpar games. Is this way? Could be a way to get him minutes so that when the playoffs do roll around, now he has a little bit more time under his belt. I will be interested to see if the Grizzlies, once they get home, if they're going to bring him up to the full roster or not. I just think it's an opportunity for him to get minutes, get back in NBA shape because he'd been off for so long, and with a long road trip. And if they felt he wasn't going to be part of the rotation, let's give him some minutes somewhere. And the hustle was the obvious choice.
I know he got hurt in the offseason, but his growth is not on the path that we all thought when we got the glimpse of him last year. What do you think has happened there? Is it that injury and he fell behind, or is there something else?
Well, I mean, let's remember, Wolo, he was playing, with not this roster.
Right.
He was able to be a featured player, and he had to log big minutes because so many guys were injured. And so it showcased him in a way that he can't be showcased now because you do have Jaren Jackson Jr. available, Desmond Baines available. The emergence of Jalen Wells certainly has maybe bumped him down the pecking order a little bit. So, last year guys showed really well because they got many more minutes than they would normally. Gigi wasn't able to get those minutes at this level or this year because of the roster was healthier or has been healthier this year than it was last year.
All right, go rest your voice, my friend. We appreciate you as always. We will talk next Thursday, and I know it's a big game tonight, so I hope you get to raise your voice a bunch in joy.
And me too. And by the way, tonight's game will be on WMC and on great television stations across the state. So we'll be on free TV in addition to FanDuel Sports Network. So tune in even if you don't have cable. That's right. You've got that. There's a couple other games like that, right? The Dallas game, I believe, the season finale will also be there. The Golden State game. So the Golden State game on April Fool's Day, and then the season finale against Dallas. Those are the two remaining games on free television. All right. Well, I guess I'm going to watch you on free TV this time, even though I've already paid for you with FanDuel. My goodness. But it's going to be the same broadcast, right? I mean, same thing. Exactly. Yeah. Yep. All right. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it. You got it. That's the TV voice of the Grizzlies. That is Pete Pranica. Oh, I meant to mention, I have a good deal of respect for Mike Wallace, who is the executive in charge of Grind City Media. But I must say, it made me almost laugh out loud when he said today that part of the reason for the lack of disclosure of information by the Grizzlies
themselves was because the beat writers weren't on the road the last 2 weeks. The Grizzlies' lack of giving information has nothing to do with the media, because I don't think that Drew Hill or Cole could have absolutely been able to put pressure on Taylor Jenkins to disclose anything, and in particular about the status of Ja Morant. That is a decision that is made internally by these folks that traditionally, particularly since Robert Perro bought the team, have been all inside. They don't let you know anything. That is a total Grizzlies franchise philosophy. No beat writer could have beat it out of them. So to say that was crazy. I wish they would look at themselves and go to their bosses and say, hey, maybe you need to be a little bit more upfront. That's the lamest excuse I have ever heard. We take the break. When we come back, we go down to Baton Rouge. We talk college basketball. We talk Sweet 16 with SEC historian Ron Higgins. Believe it or not, Higgs told me today he has 15 of the 16 NCAA Sweet 16 still alive in his bracket. Hard to believe, but he'll explain when we come back.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. It's the Chevrolet Buick GMC of Collierville Dunking Deal Sales Event with over 300 new vehicles in inventory and savings up to $10,000 on your favorite new models. Specializing in low-cost vehicles with financing options based on your credit. Get to Sunrise in Collierville, Highway 385 in Houston Levy, or sunriseatcollierville.com. Price does not include licensing costs, registration fees, taxes, and dealer dock fee at $899.50, which are paid by the consumer. Inventory combined from both Sunrise locations. New 24 Chevy Silverado, stock number RG197-130. $8,000 dealer discount, $2,000 consumer cash. Expires 3/31/25.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and the staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Napa Cafe celebrates 26 years in 2024. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner. Maybe start with an appetizer like our baked sweet peculiar peppers stuffed with goat cheese and mozzarella, finished with basil pistou, and move on to one of our cozy dishes like the double chocolate stout braised boneless beef short ribs with tonkatsu sauce and creamy mashed potatoes, or a fresh seafood dish like our pan-roasted ginger buttered sea bass with cilantro soy vinaigrette. I get hungry just talking about it. Don't forget about dessert, our famous sweet buttermilk pie with brown sugar sauce, or drink your dessert with one of our signature dessert cocktails, like the lemon cheesecake martini, lemony, icy, frothy, and dusted with graham cracker crumbs. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe. We can't wait to serve you.
Randy, I've got 2025 Jetta SE at $269 a month. 2025 Jetta SE, $269 a month. What else you got? How about a new 2023 Taos SE, only $26,998. Under $27,000 for a brand new Taos SE. That's awesome. Plus all 2024 Volkswagen Atlas SELT edition and all 2024 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport SEL R lines, $5,000 off. Well, I'm coming to see you at Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 with just 24/7 sports. Wolo Ole Miss defensive captain Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC sports ball, and Wolo Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Garvey from kickoff to first throw to extra innings. Your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM, your Mid-South sports station. Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshyn.
All we hear is Radio Gaga, Radio Gaga.
Welcome back in. We're heading to Baton Rouge in just a moment. You know, those LSU fans are famous for their ability at games to imbibe. I know they would love Grind City products. That is for sure. Any of those great beers of the Greater Patrol, that's that really cool. I don't know how to describe it. It's a sour. It's got cream, so it's subtly balanced. It's got tarts. It's got just about everything you could possibly want in a drink, and it's available right at the brewery, right north of downtown. You got to go see these grounds. Like building a permanent stage to make it a concert venue or even for comedy acts to come. It's the perfect place outside. You get a view of cities downtown. You get the bridges. It's gorgeous. And the product is just fantastic. It has become a taste of Memphis, and now the whole area is becoming an iconic place of Memphis. So go see the package. That is Grind City Brewing, just north of downtown. We head south. We head to Baton Rouge to a genius. That's what Ron Higgins must be. 15 of the 16 of the Sweet 16 teams are still alive in your bracket. That can't be true.
That's because all the favorites are winning. I mean, really, man, this is by far my best year ever. I mean, I was 42 and 6 in the men. I think in 43 and I know I've missed like less than 6 in both of them, or 7. And I mean, in the first round, the men's I was 30 and 2. It's just stupid, but it's because all the favorites are winning.
Wow, that is amazing to me, because I got to be honest with you, I'm a middle-of-the-road bracket. I've got 10 of my Sweet 16 left. I went 22 and 10 and 10 and 6. So what is that, 32 and 16? That's my record for the first two, and you've got 42. You got 10 more wins than me. That's incredible.
Yeah, I guess I just stuck with most of the favorites most of the time. I mean, I'm trying to think. The only two I missed in the first round, I can't think of. Memphis was one of them. I just, I had a lot of faith in Memphis, and they just didn't get over the hump.
No.
And I can't remember the other one I missed, but it's like, wow. And I'm like, well, this is going to implode. And the second round came, and it got through that pretty well. And so, all my Final Four people are still intact easily. I think in the Sweet 16, honestly. I was looking today at what I picked. I think every favorite wins in the semifinals of the regionals except for Texas Tech. I think Arkansas beats Texas Tech. So I have the higher seed. The higher seed winning, or lower seed, we're going to call it, in every one of them except Arkansas and Texas Tech. It's just like that's what I picked, and it's just like it's held up. We discussed last time. Basically, NIL is just taking all the really good players from mid-majors, so there's no mid-major upsets really except for McNeese. And so subsequently, you have this. There's not much intrigue. By the time you get to the regionals, even the years when they had mid-majors, most of the familiar names were there anyway. But this year's like a complete sweep, just about. Yeah.
I just so you know, I have 7 of the Elite 8 still in, and all of the Final 4 still in. So I got a chance to still have a pretty good year. 7 SEC teams to the Sweet 16. I think when we first talked about it, I said 6 would make it. I think you concurred.
Yeah.
So this is a banner year. I think it's the best ever that 7 teams from one conference made the Sweet 16.
Yeah, either Ole Miss or Arkansas could be the surprise. Arkansas, especially since they start 0-5 in the league. then they've played really well in the tournament against pretty good teams. But yeah, I mean, all these teams are. I mean, the 4 best SEC teams are still capable of getting to the Final Four. I mean, they really are.
They are.
And so that would really just make the whole nation angry if you had a Final Four of all SEC teams. They would claim it was rigged, as they usually do. So, yeah, that'd be unbelievable if that happened. And it could, I'm not saying it could happen, but you got some. I mean, you're like me. I really like Houston a lot. Okay, and I think we have the same championship game, Florida and Houston.
Yes, we do. Right.
And I like those two teams. I think they're playing their best ball of the year. I like Houston, man. They play defense. Everybody can shoot a three. And Florida's just got a lot of guys who can get buckets and make plays. And they've been pressed a little bit in this tournament. They were pressed in their last outing, but they came through. So yeah, tonight it starts, and then the women start tomorrow night, Friday night, and so we'll go from there.
I agree. The two biggest surprises are Ole Miss and Arkansas. Arkansas may be the biggest. Remember, they started off 0-5 in league play, and Cal was even saying how the team could have quit on him easily, and they did not. Could have quit on the staff. They did not. Could have quit on themselves. They did not. When they're 0-5, did you ever envision they would be a Sweet 16 team? I really kind of thought they wouldn't make the tournament.
Yeah, I thought. Well, I guess he'll get to the NIT in his first year. And give them credit that they turned it, and they really did, and they're playing their best ball of the year. I mean, you can't even. I mean, when you get to the tournament, you really want to play your best ball of the year. You want to be on the upswing, and they certainly are.
And then there's Ole Miss. They're playing Michigan State. So the good thing for Memphis is that Memphis beat both of those teams pretty handily, really, especially Ole Miss. They beat them by 17. So the Tigers are going to have beaten a team that's going to be in the Elite Eight for sure.
Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, this is an interesting matchup. Ole Miss, Michigan State. I mean, of course, Michigan State's favorite. I think because they're so friggin' physical. That's the way those teams always play. But there's something about Ole Miss. They just make plays and don't quit. That mean they just make plays, and it's just they got a great coach. And if Ole Miss won that game, it wouldn't stun me. I think when you get to the Sweet 16 with the teams that are in there now, I don't think there are many surprises left. And I mean, if somebody beats somebody, I mean, if Florida gets knocked out, I'll be surprised. Yeah, or Houston. I mean, but you know what? People think that a lot of people got Purdue beating Houston. I just can't see that.
I don't see that either. You know what? Florida had their stinker game because they easily could have lost that game to UConn, and they were able to escape it. So, I'm thinking every national champion except for Duke, UConn last year, they beat everybody by double digits. But they have a game where they escape. I think Florida had that game. I truly do. I'll tell you this. If Michigan State plays like they did against Memphis, in other words, they passed up short shots to go and take perimeter shots, and they were not shooting very well at all going into that game, let alone that game, they'll lose to Ole Miss. But I think they're going to be smart enough to exploit their advantage inside because I don't think Ole Miss is very good inside.
No, I mean, they're not. I mean, they don't have the size that Michigan State has. I mean, they got some big guys who can take out the perimeter and play and shoot the ball. But Michigan State. I mean, they need to pound it inside. It's always fascinating to me. The teams that are supposed to pound inside, they get these these sections of games where they just start jacking up threes. You're like, what are you doing? You got mismatches on the inside. Once you go inside, I mean, you're just jacking up threes.
Agree 100%. All right, last thing, very quickly. I want your take on Danny Hurley. Obviously, back-to-back championships. Obviously, crazy. I've seen him do insane things. He said, I'm not going to change the way I coach, but I am going to try to change what I do off the court, the antics, the foolhardy stuff. What do you think he can?
Maybe somewhat, but he's really unlikable. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, coming up this year and says he's the best coach in college basketball. Well, I mean, why? Because you won 2 in a row. Does that put you like in a John Wooden category, Hoss? Yeah, I just find it. He should be happy they won 2 in a row, and they made a nice run this year. And he comes off the court. Was he telling Baylor in the tunnel? Baylor was the next game,
right? His excuse on that is that he was in an area where media is not supposed to be. So that was just a message to Baylor, and he basically said, "I hope they don't f you like the referees did us."
Yeah. You know what? Media. Why? Could media stand behind a rope and him, or media walk to the media room, hear him? I'm sure he didn't say it softly, So
right.
It's fair game, jerk. I just guys like that. It's always like the media. No, shut your mouth, okay? You got beat. Just say you got beat. Move on next year.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I just don't know if he's capable of doing that. We'll see. I've seen him do stuff that he just can't help himself. I'll be curious to see if that's the way it remains. Ron Higgins, as always, we appreciate it. We'll be talking Final Four when we talk next week.
Yes, indeed. All right.
Thank you. That's our man. That is Ron Higgins. We've got to take a quick break. When we come back, we will head downtown. The Hall of Famer Jarvis Greer is coming your way next.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South. The size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Total membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for a limited range time. Free gun rentals with purchase of ammo and members lounge access. Top Gun 2770 Whitten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
Sunrise is a state of mind. Sunrise on Jefferson and Sunrise East on Poplar aren't just the best places in Memphis to get a hot, fresh breakfast or lunch. Both Sunrise locations are places where you can relax and forget about everything outside. You can sit, eat, have a drink, look at the original folk art, maybe make a friend or two. Sunrise doesn't mean you have to get up at sunrise. Sunrise doesn't mean you have to constantly be in a rush. Sunrise means you should be able to go where the employees care about you and not your politics. Plus, really good biscuits.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. Call now. 800-575-8924. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8924. That's 800-575-8924. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
New showroom, less wait for service, and the greatest deals during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event at Gossett Hyundai Southbound Mariah. 2024 Hyundai Venue Limited. We got 2317. How about 2024 Hyundai Elantra Limited? We got it. 24,997. 2025 Hyundai Elantra SEL Convenience. 25,260. And 2024 Hyundai Sonata SEL Standard. 26,353. Plus, you get America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So don't miss the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event at Gossett Hyundai South, 2660 Mount Moriah. Online anytime, HyundaiMountMoriah.com. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
341,155, MSRP 25,160. Elantra RU 821,411, MSRP 28,780. Convenience SU 856,185, MSRP 27,020. Sonata RU 415,696, MSRP 29,110. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895 excludes tax, title, and license. CBD for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Let's head downtown. Jarvis Greer, the Hall of Famer, joins us now. Are the Grizzlies going to survive OKC tonight? Good morning.
Wow. Well, does anybody survive OKC is the question. They're the first team to 60 wins in the association this year, and they pretty much have lapped the field in the West. And they're playing like the best team in the league. Can the Grizzlies do it? Yeah, that's why you play. We'll find out. At least they're coming off a win, and of what's been a really terrible road trip. But the last game they did win, and in that game against Utah, Dave, that they won 140 to 103.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a trivia question for you. The Grizzlies had 9 players hit multiple three-pointers in that game, which means 9 players hit more than one three-pointer. And one of them wasn't Cam Spencer. He was 0 for 1. That is an NBA record. It had never happened in a game before in the association where 9 players hit multiple threes.
I did not know that. I learned something from you today. How about that?
So I think Vince was 3 for 5, Vince Williams, which is good to see. His shot may be coming back a little bit.
He needs it to come back, that's for sure.
Yes, it does. And Jay Huff was only 1 for 6, and he's basically a shooter, but he was dunking pretty much everything that night. So, yeah, it'll be another night without Ja. He's still on the out list. And I do believe, now this is just me talking. This is not endorsed by the club or anything else. I think, they listen with a hamstring strain. I think they're trying to rest everything else that, is hurt on that shoulder and that hip that got displaced in the Laker game earlier this season. I'm still mad about that. And as well as the hamstring. So, he'll be as ready can be once you get time to the postseason. Will he play again in the regular season? I think he may get some minutes just to get some of the rust off. But I think they're really trying to just let all of his other maladies heal up as well as the hip.
Well, I mean that could very well possibly be Jarvo, but if that is the case, I question that philosophy and the judgment there, because you're basically, by not playing him, surrendering home court advantage. You're going to end up, if he doesn't play any more games until the playoffs, you're talking about 6th in the playoffs.
Well, anything is possible. Everything is on the table, all the way from 2, all the way to play it. It's all possible because that's how jumbled up everything is in the West. And the Lakers and who was it else last night won. Didn't do the Grizz any favors last night because they both won. I think the Clippers won.
Well, if the playoffs started today, the Grizzlies would be 5, the Lakers would be 4. You would start a playoff series in L.A. I don't think you're going to win a playoff series without home court advantage.
It remains to be seen, doesn't it? And of course, that's a lot of things you don't think will happen. But all it takes is just if John's healthy, all bets are off. If he's not healthy, then all of that comes into the equation.
All right, here's a tough one for you.
Yeah.
If Ja does not play in the playoffs, can the Grizz win a first-round playoff game? A series. If Ja
doesn't play in the playoffs, now you're going way out there. And I don't think that, if they were in the playoffs now, Ja probably be out there on the court. But they're not in the playoffs yet. So I can't let my brain even fathom that. I'm not going to even go there.
All right.
Could they win? Yeah, they could, but not. It's the odds would be stacked against them. That's just like the Tigers in the 5-12 game against Colorado State. The odds makers. The only reason the odds makers picked Colorado State is because the Tigers weren't healthy. It didn't have to do with anything else. They knew that their top 2 point guards were out. That takes a lot of the money and the clutch play out of the lineup, and that's why Colorado State was picked to win that game.
There's
That's
no
the
doubt.
only.
And then actually they were going toe to toe even without Hunter and Harris until Rogers got hurt. Now that really was a big part of the difference, and give Colorado State a lot of credit.
They acquitted themselves well in the next round and had Maryland beat, except for a great shot by a guy that'll be in the association next year.
That's right. Speaking of the NCAA, what do you think about 7 SEC teams making the Sweet 16?
Well, they had proved, that league had proved it was the best throughout the regular season. I think they had an 83% winning percentage against non-conference. That's all of their teams. So yeah, they deserve it, and they're showing up and playing like it. And people say, oh, Arkansas was playing without people hurt. Their stud went down earlier in the season, and so he'd been back for a while, and so they got guys healthy at the right time. And then Cal has a way of getting those guys to play hard, no matter what stop he is at, wherever he is, and they're peaking at the right time. They say there's no Cinderella because they're not a blue blood, but they're pretty close to it, Arkansas.
Wow.
And they got a coach that knows how to get players and win in the postseason.
Just to prove your point about Cal, his record at UMass, Memphis, and Kentucky in Sweet 16 games, 16-3. So he went to 19 Sweet 16 games and won 16 of them. That would tell you something for sure. Showboats open up.
Yeah.
Their third season? Yes, it's their third season with their fourth head coach. And they will play Michigan at 11 o'clock Sunday morning at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. We know it's a TV product because I think if you were picking opening day, you would not pick a Sunday at 11 a.m., that's for sure. But we know this is all about TV, and I'm not sure they really care that much about attendance. I'm hoping to get Steve Macy or somebody from the Showboats on tomorrow to talk about all of this. There's a possible looming player strike that could take effect starting tomorrow because that's when the season is supposed to open. Give me your sense of the UFL and the Showboats 2025.
Well, it is an unknown product, an unknown quantity because, once again, there's a whole lot of roster turnover. And what we thought was going to be a good team going into last season turned out to be horrible because the Showboats went 5-5 in their second season and looked pretty good, and they combined with the New Orleans team
that was good.
That was good. That was a game or two better than the Showboats, but it turned into a disaster. It just turned into a total disaster. So they had Coach DiFilippo, who was a great guy. They didn't bring him back.
I really liked him.
I did too. And then they bring in Coach Ken Wisenhunt, who had a lot of success in the NFL with the Titans, and then I think he took the Cardinals to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, that's right.
With Reggie on it from the Tigers. Reggie got an interception in that game against Tom Brady. How about that? But then he's got to go on the week during game week. He announced he's going to take a leave of absence. He's got some personal stuff to take care of, and we all hope that everything is okay. And they come back with Coach Hill, has got a lot of experience. The offensive line coach takes over as the interim head coach. And did you know, Dave Woloshin, that the Showboats interim head coach has actually played in the Liberty Bowl before in the state?
In that stadium, in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl game, or just in that stadium for a game?
It's in the Liberty Bowl. I don't know if it was the AutoZone Liberty Bowl at the time, but it was in 1982.
If you ask Steve Earhart, every game now is the AutoZone.
It's the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Yeah. Okay. It's the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. He played with Boston College against Notre Dame.
Oh my gosh, that's a famous game.
Yes, it is. And one reason it was famous was not so much for the game, but that it was so freezing freaking cold that fans were burning programs.
I used to go to Chicago Bear games in Wrigley Field.
Oh, my God.
It was absolutely freezing, and I was a kid. I've never been colder than that game.
How does the wind comes in off the lake? I know they like to say it's going out over Waveland Avenue. We love the Cubbies with Take Me Out to the Ball Game and all that.
Yeah, it's opening day today, buddy.
Yeah, it is. It is opening day. Are they at home? Are the Cubbies at home?
You know what? I don't even know, honestly.
Oh, Dave, come on. You're a North Side.
Because they've already had opening day. It was in Tokyo,
Yeah.
which is,
Tokyo.
weird in its own right. Tokyo? Really? Seriously?
Go ahead and crown the Dodgers. Is what
I'm looking. The White Sox are at home, so the Cubs would be on the road if they're even playing today. Yeah, they are. They're in Arizona.
That's where they train. That's where they do spring training.
That's right.
So
that is right.
They don't even have to
I
leave.
mean, that was the weirdest thing. You opened up in Tokyo, then you came back and you played spring training games. I mean, that's just nuts.
That's crazy. Yeah, but I don't know. How are your Cubbies going to do, Dave? Are they going to make?
Vegas picks them to win that division, but it's really because that division is not very good. The Cardinals are picked fourth in the division, and I know that has people around here going
they got
crazy.
Climbing to do. They got some climbing to do, and they've been very good in their minor league system, but it's been kind of dry here lately. The guys that they brought up hadn't really, other than a couple, haven't really, produced on a large scale like they have before. But that can always turn. It was great the other night at the ballpark on the Birds versus the Birds.
Oh yeah, 9,000 is what they announced. I did not go to the game, so I'm not sure.
There were kids everywhere, which was fast.
Great.
Kids everywhere.
So did you go to the game?
No, I had to go pick up some food for concern that I'm doing. I'm gonna talk. We're gonna talk later. I'm doing some courage through cancer stuff, and we're gonna have some. I'd like to use your program if I could to promote a couple things, but we'll talk about.
Yeah. All right.
There were kids
everywhere.
You could see inside the ballpark, and it was fantastic.
That's great. All right, last thing. NIL money. And retaining P.J. Haggerty, Mikey Williams may now be in the picture. I don't know how I feel about that one, to be honest with you. But I heard from Penny himself that they are really set up beautifully for this year in the NIL with significantly more money than last year, where they were able to pay Rodgers and Danger and Haggerty along with others to come and Hunter. Where do you think this stands? I know they're top 25 basketball. They may be top 25 thanks to Fred's money and Ryan Silverfield's ability to raise money. They may be top 25 in both sports when it comes to NIL. I know it's the best of all the non-Power Four.
Well, they finished. Memphis is the only team outside the Power Four to finish in both the AP basketball and AP football final polls.
Yeah, but the AP final basketball poll's not out yet.
Well, they'll still be ranked.
I think they will be.
They were
16th going in. I think they'll be dropped to 23, 24, but I think they should be in.
Yeah, they'll be in. And besides, it's the regular season anyway, but in the final poll, they'll still be in. So, that shows you there is the commitment and the fans believe. And for all the people that, I ran into a couple of people where we have, one of the kids' basketball games at St. Louis School where my grands go now. And they, some of the guys that I used to run around with when I was there many, many moons ago said, I don't know about all these athletes are mercenaries. And I just, you would be too. So I don't even want to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like if you were in their position, you'd be trying to get what you can get to take advantage of your talent. Because God gave you that talent, and if God gave you that talent, then God probably wants you to make money.
If only Jarvo had played 40 years later, he could be rich. Thank you, Jarvis Greer. We appreciate
I'll be doing exactly what I'm doing now, Dave.
We'll talk next Thursday. Thank you, my friend.
Okay.
That is Jarvo, and he is brought to you by Ken Garland Custom Home Builders, third generation. Over 70 years in the business of either building dream homes or remodeling homes, older homes where you love your lot, you love your location, but you don't have the modern amenities. They renovate. I call it renovation with innovation. They bring all the new modern amenities into your old home. So you've got a modern palace. You've got it either way, building from scratch or renovating. The guy is Ken Garland. It's Ken Sr. started the company. Ken Jr. took it over. Now Williams in the business. There is a common denominator with all three. They see little things and they see the big picture all at once. So they're going to let you know about every little detail while they're figuring everything out. And here is the one thing Ken always points out to me. The job's never done. He's with you every step of the way. And after it's completed, any issues, he's back to fix it. because he knows it's a partnership. Go check it out. Go to kengarland.com, and then he's fun to talk to. Make the call. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Johnny Radio is next. We'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. Have a great day, everybody.